No, it would be a good name for that. But I was in D.C. with Camp Freedom. So I work with an organization called Camp Freedom, and they're all about...
What if the people who made your favorite show really weren't acting at all? Imagine spending years inside a custom car shop. Cameras rolling, friendships forming. And then one day, without a word, someone's just gone. No goodbye, no explanation. Just silence. There was a moment when the cameras were off and everything felt off. You might remember Counting Cars as a non-stop ride of roaring engines and tight-knit camaraderie. But what if I told you the heart of that crew wasn't all it seemed? Strange disappearances, hushed departures, tension humming beneath the chrome. That's exactly what we're about to explore. And it all starts with a question. What really happened at Count's Kustoms when the lights went out? Keep watching. You'll never see that garage the same way again. Imagine a teenager in Detroit, grease-smudged and wide-eyed, breathing in a hum of engines in his dad's garage. Born in Cleveland, raised in the Motor City, Danny Koker absorbed the hustle of American car culture like oxygen. His dad wasn't just a musician. Though he toured with groups like the Cathedral Quartet, he was Danny's first mentor in metal and mayhem. Together, they tore down engines and brought them back to life. By adolescence, Danny was already rewriting stories in steel and steel wheels. That early connection, that bond with cars and with his father, was a spark that would one day fuel a multi-million-dollar TV empire. But hold on, there's a twist. You might expect his rise to screen fame to come from garage glory alone, but there's another chapter that rarely makes the highlight reel. In the early 90s, Danny, or Count Cool Rider, hosted late-night horror flicks in Vegas. Leather jacket, bandana, cheeky commentary over movies. It was campy rock and roll, and it planted his first seeds in television. Imagine him, narrating creature feature with that gravel-tinged voice, learning to tease, to build mystery, to weave tension. That gig wasn't just fun. It was a crucible that shaped the on-camera persona we now know. Fast forward to the labs of Count's Kustoms. What began as Danny's personal pit stop for his own rides became a desert legend. By the late 2000s, locals in Las Vegas whispered about the guy who could turn any rust bucket into a beast. Then History Channel's Pawn Stars exploded into popularity, and suddenly Danny was showing up as their go-to car and bike expert. Every time he stepped into the gold and silver pawn shop, ratings spiked. Producers saw star quality in a man who could grease an engine and charm a crowd. The date? 2012. That's when Counting Cars rolled out, flat out, no filler, built on the foundation of Danny's craftsmanship and camera-ready swagger. But this wasn't just about nuts and bolts. Under the flashy, toasty flames and chiseled steel, the show anchored itself in something deeper: loyalty, family, gritty integrity. Every episode, whether it was a battered Mustang restored a showroom crown jewel or a Harley reborn with flames licking the handlebars, pulsed with real tension and real stakes. You could feel Danny's obsession. He was perfection on wheels, perfection on screen, and the world leaned in. By season 3, Counting Cars was one of history's top-rated reality shows. Not because of fake fights or stage chaos, but because viewers sense authenticity. Real builds, real drama, and yes, real deadlines and pressure that made every episode breathless. Off-screen, Danny's collection ballooned. Over 100 vehicles. Each revived under his meticulous eye. Side hustles followed. Count's vamped rock bar slammed onto the Vegas scene. Tattoo parlors expanded, and even fronted Count 77, a rock band that punched through amps just like his engines punched through asphalt. But here's where the shine cracked. As the bills got bigger, the brand got louder, and the demand swallowed everything. The team that started out like family began to feel the heat. Midnight scrambles, impossible deadlines, six-figure price tags. People's limits were tested. That's where the trouble starts. We saw faces disappear from the screen. No goodbyes, no storyline wrap-ups. 1 minute, they were part of the crew. The next, gone. Some walked away under quiet shadows. Others seemed pushed to the edge. Rumors flooded online. Claims of creative battles. Accusations of betrayal. Whispers of Ford versus Chevy-style feuds in the engine bay. As viewers, we saw edits that made minor banter look like explosive blow-ups and production that shaped reality with dramatic spotlighting. But what about the real fractures? The cracks we never saw. Let's peel it back. The builds were no small feat, everything was authentic. Frames stripped of steel, custom TIG welding, leather interiors retrimmed, paint jobs screamed not whispered. 6 months per project wasn't uncommon. That meant long nights under fluorescent lights. Hands bruised and back sore, deadlines looming like storm clouds. Through it all, Danny set a brutal bar. He didn't just want incredible, he demanded flawless. And when someone fell short, missed a deadline, bent to profit over quality, they didn't just get notes on their line. They risked being left behind. Pressure like that can forge diamonds or crack foundations. The crew was diverse. Some flourished under that intensity, soaking up celebrity and adrenaline. Others wilted, weighed down by endless edits and on-camera scrutiny. The rise of fame added another layer. Fans lined up outside the garage, wanting autographs, selfies, glimpses behind the gates. Tourists arrived asking for impossible timelines. You could almost see the strain, lifetimes of quiet respect traded for the glare of spotlights and digital fame. Egos surfaced. Crew members who once toiled in silence began expecting airtime. Others resented the attention that wasn't theirs. Rivalries formed in the welding bay. Creative clashes sparked in the paint booth. And one by one, people vanished from both screen and crew roster. What drove them away? Was it the need for more creative freedom? The weight of working on TV time? Or something deeper? Loyalty fractured? Family ties strained? Some walked away with no fanfare, slipping quietly into new lives. Others exploded off camera, severing ties without a final word. We can speculate, but we'll dig deeper, uncover names, voices, stories that'll make you question everything you thought you knew. Now imagine filming a single 30-minute episode that takes 6 months to build. Editors sift through 1,000 hours of footage to craft cliffhangers, tease blow-ups, spotlight deadlines. A casual disagreement in the shop becomes a war zone. A missed part? That 72-hour scramble gets framed as recklessness. You see tension, but you don't see context. You hear arguments, but not reconciliation. And so viewers believe what they saw. Counting cars as a non-stop engine of drama, driven by unstoppable personalities. But behind the scenes, there was something else. Wounds that didn't heal on camera. Danny's brand, his legacy, rested on every vehicle that left the shop. That meant good enough was never enough. The pressure to maintain perfection silenced questions. Employees were expected to step up or step aside, and many found the choice wasn't theirs. Constructive criticism sometimes sounded like dismissal. Missteps weren't just corrected, they were magnified. Egos bruised, careers stalled, and as ratings climbed, so did the stakes. The garage wanted to be a rock and roll shrine to metal, but every milestone came at a price. But let's not lose what made it compelling in the first place. Count's Kustoms was a cathedral of craftsmanship. Under that roof, engines were reborn, legacies restored, and dreams fabricated, weld by weld. And Danny, he was a high-wire leader walking a razor-thin tightrope between art, business, and entertainment. The question isn't whether he succeeded. He did. It's what was lost along the way. Trust strained, faces vanished, and the rising reality TV empire hid the falling personal toll. You know the legend, but do you know the people left in its ghostly wake? We'll peel back more layers. We'll name names, trace career detours, and explore what happened when the lights got too bright. We'll hear from the ones who stayed and those who left, and uncover what it really costs to run a garage that doubled as a global brand. Hit subscribe, stay with me, and let's roll into the next chapter. This ride's only going to get deeper. That kind of atmosphere doesn't just document personalities. It transforms them, and not always for the better. While the cameras rolled, another drama unfolded beyond the shop floor. Legal entanglements and money troubles that crept in as counting cars climbed to fame under public scrutiny. Restoring luxury vehicles under deadlines for wealthy clients isn't just art, it's a high-stakes business. Estimates slip, delays happen, and modified parts spark disagreement. For Count's Kustoms, that often meant silent phone calls, heated boardroom discussions, and eventually court filings. By the time the show hit its stride, these disputes, some hush-hush, others made headlines, had grown too big to ignore. That brings us to a name few fans remember, but one that shook Count's Customs to its core: Joseph Frontiera. He wasn't lifting engines or spraying flames. He was handling the books, keeping finances in line. But by 2016, that quiet accountant had become the eye of a storm. Public records, including lawsuit filings, showed Danny Koker's team accused Frontiera of embezzling more than $75,000, money allegedly used toward Range Rover down payment flights and other personal expenses. What really grabbed attention was the accusation of forged signatures and doctored documents meant to mask the theft. For a brand built on trust and loyalty, this wasn't just a financial hit. It was a betrayal. Suddenly, donations and camaraderie had darker undertones, and the shop guru's silence became deafening. Danny never addressed it on camera, and Frontiera disappeared without a word in episodes following 2016. It was as if history was scrubbed clean. No interviews, no social media presence, no acknowledgement of what happened. The lawsuit eventually wound through the courts, but final judgments and settlements remain sketchy. Most details are sealed, whether it fizzled quietly or ended in some closed-door settlement. The facts don't show in lighted builds. Instead, what remains is a scar, a breach of genuine belief in his crew, and a trust that took years and horsepower to build. But embezzlement wasn't the only departure cloaked in mystery. Another face faded from screen, and unlike Frontiera, this one left before any scandal broke. Scott Jones. Early in the series, Scott was the shop's manager, the one balancing the artistic heat behind the scenes, keeping schedule and budget in check. He clashed often with Danny, shedding tears over costs, pushing back against impulsive upgrades, always ready with a spreadsheet. It wasn't glamorous. It was essential. Then, after season 2, he was gone. One episode quietly mentions he moved to Tennessee to be nearer to family. But viewers never saw goodbye or heard a heartfelt send-off. It felt abrupt, like the engine shut down mid-roar, and rumors immediately accelerated. Some whispered financial mismanagement, even criminal allegations. But unlike Frontiera, Scott faced no lawsuit, no public drama. Today, Scott Jones runs Koker's Extreme Automotive up in rural Tennessee, specializing in custom builds and high-performance setups. He's even appeared recently on Netflix's Swap Shop. Yet, neither he nor Danny has ever explained what truly happened. Was it creative differences? Was the pressure too much? Or were deeper rifts at play? The lack of closure only fuels speculation, and for fans who believe in that on-screen family, it hits harder than any missing weld. By now, curiosity should be burning. What other shadows lurk in that bright neon garage? Who else left behind a silent absence? And why did they walk away? Each departure echoes a pattern. People pushed, people broken, people who slipped into the backdrop once the spotlights turned off. And the saga doesn't fade here. There's another chapter to come, in that packed garage. There are crew members whose exits didn't involve lawsuits or Netflix spin-offs, but whose silence was just as loud. Their stories hint at creative clashes, burnout, and the weight of expectation that came with reality TV fame. What does it take to work under that constant glare? How do you stay yourself when you're pinned by producers, fans, and deadlines? In Part 3, we'll trace those hidden exits, spotlight the crew members whose names vanished, but whose absence changed the shop. We'll confront the stories unsaid, the late-night breakdowns, the private confrontations, the wounded pride that never aired. We'll dig into how what started as a restoration of muscle cars transformed into a test of real human endurance, and what happened when the engine of fame began to stall. So stay with me. We've peeled back the first layers of legal betrayal and managerial absences. Now we move deeper into the emotional heart of Count's Customs. The next part goes beyond what was shown on screen and inside the lawsuit paperwork. We're uncovering the real human toll of leaving the dream behind. And believe me, it's a journey you won't want to miss. Our journey through Count's Customs leads us now into the final act, and the atmosphere has shifted once more. Where once harmony filled the garage, tension now pulsed beneath every engine roar. And then, without warning, another light vanished. Rolly Sabo, fondly known as Rock and Raleigh, departed in silence. If you've watched Counting Cars, you remember him. The Hungarian accented spark who polished chrome by day and cracked jokes by night. His presence lit up the shop, But after season 6, he disappeared entirely. No farewell. No storyline wrap-up. The suddenness of it sparked whispers. Some believe Raleigh had a clash with staff or producers. Others recalled how, in 2017, thousands of dollars in his detailing equipment were stolen, an incident reported in Las Vegas local news, and briefly lamented on his social media before he went silent. No lawsuits, no official fallout, just silence and a hole where laughs once echoed. Curiosity builds. Why let a fan favorite slip away so quietly? There's evidence that after the theft, Raleigh struck out on his own, founding Rock and Raleigh Custom Detailing, a mobile service in Las Vegas. He's still behind the wheel, still perfecting cars, albeit off camera. No scandal, no shade, just a man rebuilding tool by tool, reputation kept almost entirely intact. While Raleigh moved on, another core voice began to fade. Shannon Icow, the unassuming force behind Garage's most memorable motorcycles. Calm, focused, precise. Shannon didn't need the spotlight. When Danny dreamed bold, intricate bike concepts, Shannon brought them to life. But by season 7, his scenes dwindled. No public drama, no headlines, just a slow disappearance. Some insiders say the show pivoted toward high-drama hot rods and celebrity builds, sidelining his detailed craftsmanship. Others mention creative differences, hinting he wanted a freer canvas than reality TV allowed. Whatever the case, Shannon vanished without a trace, yet remained quietly active in the Las Vegas custom motorcycle scene and at exclusive events. His silence says everything. Sometimes the story isn't in the cameras. It's in what the eye can't see. Now shift your gaze to the most flamboyant personality left, the one whose paint jobs blaze across every frame. Mike Henry, better known as Horny Mike. If the shop had a rock star, this was him. Horn helmet, neon mohawk, boundless energy, and a paintbrush that turned vehicles into kinetic art. Skull flames, surreal sci-fi landscapes, vibrant murals. His handiwork could freeze a viewer mid-scroll. But big talent often brings big tension. On screen, Mike and Danny clashed. Mike pushed boundaries. Danny balanced artistry against deadlines, brand expectations, and customer satisfaction. Behind the scenes, that pressure intensified. In interviews and on social media, Mike hinted at the toll. Juggling complex designs, shooting schedules, and producer demands stretched him thin. Gradually, his screen time faded. No dramatic exit, but a shift. One day, his presence felt less constant, then almost gone. Some fans whisper he was pushed out. Others say he chose to scale back. Today, he leads Horny Mike Designs in Las Vegas, offering airbrush gear, helmets, and one-of-a-kind artwork that feels museum-worthy. He keeps posting on social media, sharing behind-the-scenes glimpses and vibrant builds, never burning bridges with Count's Customs. That choice speaks volumes. Talent remains, friction fades, respect endures. Between these stories, there's a common theme. Each departure wasn't just an exit. It was a turning point. Betrayal, burnout, creative crossroads. They all peel back layers of the Garage's myth. Count's Customs was never just a TV set. It was a real crucible of creativity, pressure, and sacrifice. What we watched was polished, but what triggered those fade-outs often stayed under wraps. With silence came separation. Some cast members left under scandal. Others drifted quietly, but each taught a lesson. Reality TV amplifies tension. Spotlight magnifies cracks. And even the brightest personalities can dim under unsung stress. In every wrench tightened and engine revved, there were unseen costs. Trust fractured, relationships strained, confidence tested. As we round this journey out, let's zoom in on the main man himself, Danny Koker, and examine the celebrity life behind the chrome. His car collection spans over 100 vehicles, including classic Cadillacs and rare lowriders, but stands out are his Rolls-Royce Phantom and vintage Harley-Davidson Softail. On his wrist, likely a high-end timepiece. Fans speculate a Rolex Submariner or Omega, symbols of precision and luxury that echo his craftsmanship. His properties in Las Vegas and rumored assets in Michigan anchor him in two worlds. Hometown roots and show business shine. He reportedly holds ownership stakes in his bar, Count's Vamp Rock Bar, his tattoo parlor, and the Count 77 Band. Diversified ventures both passion-driven and profit-minded. Though private jet ownership isn't public, his frequent travel hints at charter flights or fractional ownership. He reportedly invests in health and asset insurance, a necessity with high-value cars and personal brand on the line. Danny's financial playbook reveals key lessons. Diversify income, balance passion projects with business sense, guard your reputation, and secure what fuels your fire, whether that's vehicles, venues, or your own well-being. From roaring engines to whispered exits, Counting Cars gave us more than chrome and horsepower. It gave us characters who felt like family, and stories far deeper than what aired on screen. Behind every custom build was a craftsman wrestling with deadlines, dreams, and sometimes disillusionment. Some faded quietly, others clashed loudly, but each one left a fingerprint on the show's legacy. If you felt that journey, hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite cast member or episode. We read every one. And if you want more untold stories like this, make sure you're subscribed.